Welcome everyone officially to this Art of Letting Go Masterclass. It's also doubling as a live session, one of the regular sessions that we run as part of the Art of Letting Go course and program. So I'm just gonna start off by diving into today's teaching. We've got an email that I send out with a daily inspirational quote, and there's a bit of a teaching around that. So this will give you a taste of what we actually do in our actual daily sessions, and that should take us to about 8 o'clock UK time. And then we'll have a little chance for a bit of expression. Everyone can maybe introduce themselves. That would be nice. And we'll, if anyone wants to stay after that, we'll probably continue with working through some of the Course in Miracles lesson that we study for today. So without further ado, I'm going to just share my screen so we can see that. Okay. All right. So can everyone see the screen? Just give me a thumbs up if you can. Okay, or nod. Great. Perfect. So I'm going to ask someone to read the quote. So this is a inspirational quote which I send out, which is themed to the lesson of the day, which is from Viktor Frankl. So I think let's ask Sally or Jackie just to kick it off. I won't put anyone else on the spot yet. If you can read that, Sally.
Forces beyond your control can take away everything you possess, except one thing, your freedom to choose and how you respond to the situation.
Yeah, Viktor Frankl. So I don't know if you know his history, but he was a Holocaust survivor. He wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning, which I highly recommend reading. As you can see, I always put the links in there. Just check. Yeah, great. So he spent 3 years in various Nazi concentration camps that also killed his parents, his brother, and his wife during World War II, which is some pretty harsh experiences. But what kept him going was a sense of a transcendent meaning. He had this idea that he was going to use this experience to create a new kind of psychotherapy, which he subsequently did, called logotherapy. Logo means meaning, so it's the therapy of meaning. School of psychotherapy based on the idea that people's desire to find meaning in their lives is their primary driving force in life, and reminds us that we always have the freedom to choose how we respond to any situation, no matter how, quote, bad it appears to be on the level of form. And you can't get much worse than Nazi concentration camp and losing your entire family and wife. So, he was certainly tested. So it's an extreme example of this freedom to choose. And, he's eminently qualified to actually say this: everything you possess except one thing, because everything he had was pretty much taken away. He lost, all his material possessions. He lost the people he loved. He was close to. Everything was taken away except his freedom to choose how you respond to the situation. And he exercised that choice in a positive way. People who didn't, said, people would come in who were, strong, fit, healthy young men, and within months they'd die because they just lost all sense of meaning and purpose. But he survived in these horrendous conditions for 3 years because he had this inner fire burning. He knew that there was a transcendent meaning to his experience. So as Jesus, or Yeshua as I call him, because that was actually his real name, and we do a lot of reinterpretation and translation as part of the Art of Letting Go, just to give a kind of a fresh perspective on things. So I call him Yeshua. If you want to call him Jesus, that's fine. As he puts it so well in section 1 of the clarification of terms in A Course in Miracles, So I'm going to ask someone else to read the quote, just to make it a bit interactive. So Elaine, how about you read that?
Unmute. Yeah. In this world, the only remaining freedom is freedom of choice, always between two choices or two voices.
Yeah, so he's saying it very clearly. You know, we have this choice between two choices and two voices, and he calls those two choices and two voices the ego, which is really just the belief in separation, the belief that you're a separate self, and the Holy Spirit, which is the belief in oneness, in love, perfect love, oneness. And those two beliefs contradict each other. They conflict, and that conflict is why this world is so full of conflict, because you have two opposing ideas and two opposing thought systems in your mind, and they never agree. And that's the basis of duality, polarity, duality, opposites, conflict. Everything we're so familiar with in this world, it seemed to characterize this so-called reality we live in. So every time you choose to forgive or let go, so I use those terms synonymously. If you're familiar with the Course in Miracles, you'll know that the main teaching is around forgiveness, but that's often quite misunderstood by people. So I just call it letting go, because it's much simpler. It's much more direct. You know, what does it mean to forgive someone, actually? Well, actually, what it means is to let go of any negative thought or emotion that you have towards them. That's what it really means. So it kind of clarifies it, and that's the whole point of using language, just to make it clearer and simpler and more direct. Because a lot of these kinds of spiritual teachings are very obscure often, and the language doesn't help to make it any clearer. So if you choose to forgive or to let go, you're exercising this freedom by choosing the Holy Spirit, which we call the remembrance of love, rather than the ego, which is the belief in separation. So you're making the right choice and choosing to listen to the right voice. And there's only one right choice. That's really what I think distinguishes the Course in Miracles from other parts. It's saying there is only one right way. You can't make the ego and fear and anger and hatred and attack and guilt and sin and misery and sickness and death and all of that really dark stuff that goes on in this world. You can't make that right. There's no way of reconciling that with love. So he's saying the only way out of that dilemma is you have to choose between the two. And exercising that power that we have is our only freedom that we really have here. And when we start to exercise that freedom consciously and we make the right choice, that's when spiritual growth and transformation starts to happen. It's as simple as that. So why don't you always make the right choice by forgiving or letting go of any thoughts and emotions that are seemingly causing you to suffer? That's the question. Why don't we always make the right choice? Because you still have a deep-seated belief that you're a separate self living in a body, in a world that seems to be outside of you and capable of causing you to suffer. And if we're honest with ourselves, that's the problem. We all have that deep-seated belief that we're human, and that there is an external world, and that circumstances and people and places and events and everything outside of us can make us suffer. This made me do something. You had children in the playground say, he made me angry, he made me do it. But we still do that as adults. You only have to listen to the dialogue between politicians, and you see that it's still the same. It's just a more sophisticated version of that belief that something outside of you is to blame for whatever troubles you're experiencing. So this belief makes you forget that you do always have a choice about how you respond to any situation, which is the forgetting of the ego. If you forget that, then you seem to be at the effect of the world. You seem to be a victim of the world, which is not a very happy state to be in. Being a victim means that you've given away your power of choice, and you now seem to be dictated to by the external world. You no longer have the power to direct your own thoughts and actions. So it's not a happy, empowered state to be in. So you might then ask, well, how do I free my mind from this persistent belief? And I guess that's why you're here. because we're all looking for freedom. That's the only reason why people join workshops, seminars, masterclasses, and things like this. We're all looking for something which we feel like we're missing. And so we seek, and the search continues until we find it. That search is the spiritual search for our true identity, who we really are, answering questions like, who are we, who am I, what is reality, and so on. Those nice easy questions to ask and answer. So some of you will already know the answer because you're doing the Art of Letting Go program, but there are many who are not. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about what the program contains. So it contains meditations. There's a mind training lesson based on A Course in Miracles, where we study one of the workbook lessons every day. There's live discussion and meditation sessions exactly like this, 6 days a week, and other spiritual practices. But reading, meditation, and the live sessions are the key ones. And whenever you do that, any kind of spiritual practice, you're choosing to exercise your one remaining freedom and taking another step on your hero's journey home to heaven, which remember is the state in which you're only aware of and experiencing perfect love or oneness. So heaven is just a state of mind. It's not a place. It's a state of awareness. We call it pure formless awareness of perfect love, and that's home. That's where we all belong. That's where we feel happy, peaceful, at one with ourselves, forever, for all eternity. If you dispute that, then you've got some other awareness going on in your mind, and that's part of the problem. The ego's given us another home, which it says is here. Your home is in the body, your home is in the world, and you better make the best of it, because this is it. This is as good as it gets. And that is just false. You may disagree with that, but if you make that true, then the problem is you're denying heaven. You're denying that there's another transcendent reality, and you have to then try and make do here. Well, that's not a very happy scenario, because if you try and make do here, eventually suffering comes, and you age and you die. That's how the ego's world works. So there's no transcendence in that so-called reality. So you might say, and I want to just talk about the hero's journey, actually, because just show of hands, how many people are familiar with the hero's journey? You can just type yes in the chat, or if you're on camera, just yeah, I know Sally is. Yes, Fiona Woodfield. Okay, so I'm not heard of it, Jane. Okay, so some have, some haven't. So I'm just going to link in there. As you can see, I put kind of helpful links in, so you can link into these things, and then I'll open up the diagram, because this is the easiest way to explain it, really. Someone else will just put something in the chat. No, okay. So Hero's Journey was created by a guy called Joseph Campbell, who was a mythologist. He studied myths of various different cultures, traditions, religions, and he found that there was this one common theme, archetype, if you like. He called it the monomyth of human life, and he framed it in this way. This is how it's put in a diagram. So it starts with a call to adventure. We have some kind of dissatisfaction. We're not that happy with our current status quo, even if it might seem to be okay. Internally, we're not that happy, and so there's some kind of call in us to an adventure, not necessarily to go anywhere physically, but that something needs to change, which is maybe why you're here tonight. There's a call to learn, to grow, to do something. You don't necessarily know what it is. You're looking, you're not necessarily even sure what it's for. So that's where it starts. And if you listen to that call, then often you'll get supernatural aid. So I'll use the Matrix, which you've probably all seen. Has everyone seen the Matrix?
Yes.
No. So quite a familiar movie, and it's a classic hero's journey. If you remember in the first scene, Neo's asleep at his computer, and it's searching. It shows you, that he's searching. Searching is how it starts. Searching for this guy called Morpheus. So in the first minute, you see, okay, this guy's on a search. He's obviously, he's fallen asleep at his computer. because he's so intent on searching, and it's sometime in the night. We don't know when. And then suddenly he gets someone hacks into his computer, and a message comes, and he just kind of mysteriously wakes up. And this message says, "Wake up, Neo," and then it says, "Knock, knock," and then suddenly there's a knock on the door. So that's like supernatural, something like really strange has happened. And then it says, "Follow the white rabbit," and he goes, "What?" And then it goes off, and then he sees a white rabbit on one of the ladies, I think on her shoulder. He goes, "Okay." So there's the call to adventure, right? He got the call directly, and he listened. So he went, "Okay, I'll follow the white rabbit," and he went literally down into the depths of that club dungeon to follow the call. So the call might lead you all kinds of places. And then he meets a helper. So he meets Trinity, who he discovers is someone who's hacked into the IRS database and has somehow magically done this on his computer, and is giving him a message and saying, "We can help you, but be careful because they're after you." And so then he encounters the Threshold Guardians, if you recall, the agents. They go, "No, you're absolutely not going to escape." And the next scene is he's at work, and the next scene is his boss telling him he's just ordinary, and he better just get back in line, and you think you're special, you think you're something different, and clearly you're mistaken. So that's the Guardian saying, "No, actually you're not anything special, you're just Thomas Anderson, an ordinary employee, and you better get back in your box." And he literally is in a box, he's in this little cubicle. And then he gets the call from Morpheus saying, "Okay, so they're coming for you." So the Threshold Guardians appear, and they're saying, "You are not going to escape from this reality." And then he's given a way out, goes to the edge, but he can't do it, if you recall. He goes outside the window, and he can't do it. It's just you got to climb the scaffolding, and he says, "I can't do it." So he refuses that call, which is quite common, that people refuse the call. But he does get another chance. So then he gets taken in, and he gets bugged, and then he's not sure if it's a dream or reality, because he wakes up in his bed. He's like, "Was that a nightmare? Did it really happen?" So he's starting to question his reality. But then he gets another call, and it's like, okay, now is his final chance. He's got to make another decision to cross that threshold, and he has two opportunities to walk away. If you remember, in the movie, Trinity says, "Stop the car," and he's about to get out and walk away, and says, "You don't want to go there. You don't want to go down that road because you know that road too well." And so he stays in the car. He makes another choice to carry on the hero's journey and go really from the known world, his known world of quite a limited existence as Thomas Anderson, a computer programmer, into something completely unknown. He really doesn't know what he's going into. And then he finally makes that choice, with the famous pill scene where he takes the red pill. And Morpheus says to him, "Remember, I'm only offering you the truth." Which is a good warning, because he's not promising that it's going to be pretty. He's just telling him, "I want to give you the truth." So he makes another choice, and then Cypher says, "Well, buckle your seatbelts, Dorothy, because Kansas is going bye-bye." So he's about then to go into the unknown world. And so you see that moving from the known to the unknown world, and that's the first sort of half an hour of the movie. And then he realizes, "Oh my God, my entire reality hasn't been real." He wakes up and realizes exactly, the enslaved condition he was in. Just about drowns, gets pulled up into the light, and then he's in the unknown world. And then his journey really starts in earnest. So now if you remember that phase where he's in the ship, he has all kinds of challenges and temptations. So he's got to go through training. So this kind of training program, he's got helpers, and Morpheus is helping him. He's got his operator who's loading the programs, and he's being prepared basically. But there are challenges on the ship. He's still not quite sure of who's who. There's Cypher who's the traitor, and so he's going through these challenges and temptations. And then he has to go back into the Matrix to get guidance again from the Oracle. So again, the mentor, the helper, the guide coming in, and she says, "Well, one of you, either you or Morpheus, are going to die, and so you're going to have to make a choice. And she's correct, because actually he does have to die, but she doesn't tell him the full picture, which is often how it works. So he's just getting, and Morpheus says to him, she told you exactly what you need to know, for now. So that's kind of how the Holy Spirit works. The oracle is a symbol of the Holy Spirit. It's giving you this guidance to take the next step, and it's giving you just enough to be able to make the correct decision, which he does. And he chooses to risk his life and go back into the matrix, and eventually has to confront Smith again in the subway, saves Morpheus, confronts his nemesis, and he's still fighting the ego, but he's starting to believe that he can do this. And then the final kind of scene is where he gets killed, but Trinity's love kind of resurrects him. He wakes up, and then he's on another level. So that symbolizes this transformation, that he's gone through this profound transformation. He's literally died to his old self twice, because he had to die to Thomas Anderson, and he had to die again, gone through this death and this rebirth. And now he's Neo. He's the one. Neo is just the same spelling as one. He's the one, the avatar, the Christ, who is transformed into this, awakened being. It shows you that last scene. He just sees the matrix. He sees the code, and the ego really has no power over him. He just easily, what previously was a real challenge, he just easily blocks the punches. He's just in an altered state, and you can see that he's transformed, come into a sense of who he really is at one-ment, which is interesting, because this is in the Course in Miracles, but that's a term used in the Course in Miracles. And then the final scene of the movie, he returns to the matrix, and you see him on the phone, and he's saying, well, I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. And that's the precursor to the next movies, the sequels. But he's made then a return to the matrix as the enlightened one, and he's saying, I'm gonna help to free these people's minds. So there you have the core, just illustrated, the core of the hero's journey. The three major parts: the call to adventure, then there's the initiation, you've got the death and the rebirth, the transformation, which you have to go through, and then the return. So there's three main stages, with that kind of being I wouldn't say it's a stage, but it's an experience of really letting go, collapsing the ego entirely. And that archetypal plan has been used over and over in Hollywood movies. If you look at all the sort of great series movies, like Star Wars, Hero's Journey, Harry Potter movies, also Hero's Journey, Avatar, Hero's Journey, Matrix, Lord of the Rings, and we resonate with the hero's journey because there's something in us that resonates with these characters going through this journey. There's something in us that's calling us to go on that same journey, and so that's why it works as an archetype, and that's why Hollywood script writers use it. They model. There's actually 12 stages they've broken it down to, and if you look at the scripts, they really closely follow those 12 stages, because they know it's a formula that works. So you'll see that post 1949, which is when Joseph Campbell wrote his seminal book called The Hero with 1,000 Faces, the movies changed. They started to become more around this hero's journey, because Hollywood kind of figured out that this was a way to make movies that people would really resonate with. And so it ushered in a new era of movies, like Star Wars. George Lucas he'd read Joseph Campbell's book, and then wrote the script of Star Wars based on the hero's journey. So that's just a little bit of background on what it is, and you're all on it, otherwise you wouldn't be here. So you're somewhere here. Maybe it's just a call to adventure. Maybe you're already in this challenges and temptations part. But for a lot of you, it might be a new call to adventure, to do something else, to go into the unknown and explore something that you don't know. So that's the invitation I'm going to give you tonight, is to step into the unknown. More about that a bit later. So any questions so far? I don't want to make this too much of a monologue. Anyone got any questions, comments? No? Okay, so we'll just crack on then. So so you might say, why is this the case? So why do spiritual practices help? Because spiritual practices like meditation, these kinds of discussions, conscious forgiveness, anything that's really creating more awareness in your mind, help you to become more aware of negative thoughts and emotions, which are thoughts that they're called negative because they negate or block the pure formless awareness of perfect love. So hence negative. And it's to become aware of those blocks to the awareness of love's presence, as Yeshua calls them, as they arise, and then consciously make the choice to let them go. So it's a two-step process. There's this choice to become aware of them, and then a choice to let them go. Because I've done this work. Oh, Pippa, she's leaving. Right. Okay. Well, that's fine. So this is the process of forgiveness or letting go will ultimately free your mind from all its blocks to the awareness of love's presence, as Yeshua calls it in the introduction. So there's Robin, she's an existing member. So someone else read this. This is the introduction to A Course in Miracles, which is very profound. We'll unpack this a bit, just to give you a little taste of what the teaching is. So who would like to read that? Maybe Jackie. Is that big enough? Shall I make it a bit bigger?
It'd be good to be a bit bigger, but I can probably read that. I think I know it.
Yeah, it's there. There we go. Is that big enough?
Yeah. This is A Course in Miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary.
Okay, so pause there. I'm just going to unpack it as we go. So what he's saying is that this is required, and it's kind of like the hero's journey. You know, we've all got to take our hero's journey at some point. It's just when you take it. That's the voluntary bit. Okay, we can carry on.
Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. The course.
Yeah, carry on.
The course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance.
Okay, so pause it there, because there's quite a bit there. So saying you can choose when you want to take this, up to you. That's the extent of your free will. And then he's saying that the course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, because that can't be taught. Okay, so it's setting the framework of the curriculum, saying I can't teach you that, but what I can teach you is how to remove the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. So that's why some of you might have gone, why is the statue of David? Well, the reason is because Michelangelo famously said, when he was asked how he did it, he said, well, all I did was I cut away what wasn't David. I took this block of marble, I just refined it and cut away all of the rough edges until this was revealed. He said that David was already in the block. I just had to reveal it, which is a very interesting idea. So it's about letting go, then cutting away what is not our authentic self. And that's the approach of A Course in Miracles. There's some teachings that say, well, you need to try and become more than you already are. You know, enhance yourself, grow. Growth means you become a better self. And this is a different idea. It's saying, actually, you're already perfect within you, but you just have a covering. You have these sharp edges, like the block of marble, that just need to be chiseled away and refined to reveal the true self. It's already there. It's existing in you. It just it's been covered over. And so it's a different idea. It's not you coming from the place of I'm a deficient self, and now I need to grow into someone who's not a deficient self, right? The problem is, if you've ever tried that, you never get there. It's an ongoing track. You keep trying and desiring to be a better self, and it really doesn't matter what you do. You still feel, because you're coming from the place of deficiency, you still feel like you're not good enough. And many celebrities have have experienced this. There's a lady called Marisa Peer who works with Hollywood A-list celebrities. She worked with people like Princess Diana and Amy Winehouse, and so the problem is that they all do this. They say, well, I'll become a better self, and they succeed on the level of form. They become famous celebrities, and they have money, and they have status, and they have an attractive partner usually, because it's not difficult when you're famous to get other people to like your separate self, and yet they're not happy, and often then their lives kind of degenerate into dysfunction, addiction, these kinds of things, because they've done everything that they thought would make them happy, and they realize they're still not happy. So then where do you go from there? The ego hasn't worked, and they have no other plan, and so then they end up in depression and despair and addiction and so on. And then Marisa Peer gets called in, and really she just tells them the truth, that they're already enough. It's just a very simple affirmation that she gives them. I am enough. Say that as many times as you can in the day. I'm already enough. So it's not like I need to do anything, achieve anything, have anything more than I have currently to be enough. I am already enough. That's really what this teaching is saying. I just have to chip away and uncover this true self that's already enough, which means I've got to let go of the false beliefs that cover it over. So that's, I promised in my sort of introductory emails to show to you, what is the one key skill that you need to learn to for spiritual growth, to have a happy, healthy life of well-being. And that one key skill is simple. It's can you let go? Can you let go of what doesn't serve you? Can you recognize what doesn't serve you? Can you let it go? Because if you can, then you can reveal that true self more and more. And if you can't, then you stay stuck in the block of marble, never really revealing your true self, and trying to add to that block. But actually what you should be trying to do is take away what's not real, what's not you, rather than trying to add to it. So it's a very different approach from the normal kind of personal growth mindset, which some of you may have experienced, where they're saying, well, you're not quite good enough as you are, but if you do this and this, and you go on this path of trying to make more money, or get a better body, improve your health, get find your soulmate, these kinds of things, then you're going to have made it, then you'll have achieved success, then you're going to feel happy and worthwhile. And if any of you have ever pursued that, then you'll know that it's an illusion. You end up, even if you get there, you realize that it doesn't work. I got to a point in my late 20s where I pursued an egoic goal. It was to be a champion squash player for maybe 15 years, pretty obsessively. And I realized it just wasn't going to work. I didn't achieve it. And I had to let it go because I hadn't achieved it. And when I did let it go and I moved on, I found, a much greater sense of peace and happiness than I ever had. So, you learn these lessons experientially, and then the theory kind of catches up. A few years after that, I came to A Course in Miracles and started studying the theory, and then it kind of made sense. You go, okay, well, I've actually experienced this, what letting go does. So it makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, so that's a bit of background on that. So the next one, let's ask someone else to read. Sandrine, how about you? The opposite of love is fear.
Yeah, so the opposite of love is fear, but what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. This course can therefore be summed up very simply in this way. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God.
Yeah, so saying the opposite of love is fear, but what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. So that's a classic example of taking you from a dualistic framework. Apparently there's an opposite to love called fear, but then in the second part of the sentence he raises you above that battleground of duality and says, but what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. So that's an example of two different orders of reality in the same sentence. Another example, a famous one from the Bible, was he said, before Abraham was, I am. So before Abraham was, in the past, I am transcends time, and no one understood it. The scribes and scholars of the day were like, what are you saying? Because they couldn't understand the phase shift, that he was referring to another dimension in the second part. Because our minds struggle with it. We're so used to the ego's framework that when something comes along to take us out of that framework into a transcendent reality, then often we struggle to understand it. And then he summarizes this entire course, the Course in Miracles, in 3 simple sentences. Nothing real can be threatened. Okay, you kind of get that, maybe. Nothing real can be threatened. So if it's real, then it can't be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Okay, maybe. Nothing unreal exists. What does that even mean? This requires some deeper exploration, which is why we have an entire course. It's been said that if you understood the introduction perfectly, then you would not need the rest of the course. If you understood these 3 lines, nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists, and you really got that, then you could close the book and you say, that's fine, I get it. But we struggle with it because our human selves, the ego, doesn't really understand us. And then he's promising us the peace of God. So the peace of a transcendent, we call it pure formless awareness or perfect love. This deep peace that will come if we understand these first 2 lines. Nothing real can be threatened, and nothing unreal exists. And so we do spiritual practice and we do the work so that we can understand it, not just at an intellectual level, but at a very deep level, and actually apply this insight into our lives and live in this way. So how do you live consciously in an unreal world? That's the question. It's not real, but you're still apparently living here. And so this is why we do spiritual practice, to train our minds to operate in a completely different way. And this is why it's called rebirth. You're reborn into another self when you go through a transformation, as is shown in the hero's journey. Go through the abyss, you're reborn, and your entire thought system has then transformed, and you're a different person, and you see the world differently on the other side of a transformation. Your world has changed because you've changed. So that's another key principle, saying, the world is not out there. The world is in your mind. The world is as you perceive it. It's based on your self-concept. The world is a projection or reflection of your own self-concept. Okay, so it's that's a little taster of A Course in Miracles. Let me just pause here. How many people here have heard of A Course in Miracles? Yeah, Elaine, Sandrine. Most people, I can't see most people. Thumbs up. Yeah, give me a thumbs up or put something in the chat, which is probably why you're here. It's not the easiest teaching, is it? To really get your head around. It took me about 10 years to really start understanding it. Honestly speaking, I thought I understood it when I first read it, but I realized that I didn't really after 10 years, and I'm still learning from it. 16 years on. Every time there's a lesson, there's text, there's still learning, because it's about, although the truth is simple, it's about deeper realization and understanding in your own mind of that. And so what Yeshua's saying is, it's only by forgiving or letting go repeatedly of these blocks to the awareness of love's presence that we can, and doing this as persistently as the ego or the belief in separation, because that's all the ego is, tries to block your awareness of love's beneficent presence, that you can and will free yourself from the suffering your ego causes. That's the only way. You've got to be as persistent in letting go as the ego is persistent in giving rise to these blocks. And so some of us go, it's seemingly impossible to get over the ego. It seems to be so deep-seated and so persistent. That's going to require a lot of mind training, a lot of persistence to get there. And that's really why we do the spiritual practice. That's why A Course in Miracles was written. Yeshua was giving us the teaching to help us to do this ongoing spiritual practice and mind training, using lessons every day. There's a theory, which is a text There's a workbook, which is the daily lessons, and then there's the manual for teachers, which is like the frequently asked questions. So it is a mind training course of note, about 1,300 pages of really, deep, profound teaching. I don't think there's a sentence in the course that isn't meaningful. There's no sort of waffle or fluff, even though it's so long. It's what makes it quite extraordinary. And so today's lesson, we at the tail end of our 1-year program, is Workbook Lesson 340. I can be free of suffering today, or alternatively, I am free of suffering today. So I'll just speak a bit to that. What we've been doing over the last couple of years is translating the original text to make it a bit more understandable. So how many of you have trouble with the original text of A Course in Miracles, reading some of the terms like Holy Spirit, God, Christ, Son of God, heaven, and all the Christian terminology? Yep. Yeah, so that's not an unfamiliar thing. A lot of people do struggle with it for various reasons, because they've had a childhood, they've had experiences with the church, traditional Christianity that's not positive. Okay, Sandrine, if you have to go, I'm into universe opposed to God. Okay, it's interesting, Jen. We'll explore that insight. So it's can be challenging. So what we do is we translate some of those terms, sometimes use the more direct language. So instead of I can be free of suffering, why not make it I am free of suffering? Because I can be indicates some kind of potential future state, but actually I am free of suffering is much more powerful. So those kinds of translations can just make the lessons, make the text more understandable, more impactful, more meaningful, without really changing the meaning. We're not changing the meaning. We're just hopefully allowing you to access more of the meaning, a deeper meaning that's there. So that brings us to the lesson. What I'm going to suggest now is that we do a meditation on this, so that you will get an actual experience of what we do in the live sessions. Every day we meditate on the lesson and we discuss it. We'll do a meditation first. How does that sound? Everyone up for a meditation? Okay, great. So just put your phones on mute, silent. So make yourself comfortable, sitting with your feet shoulder width apart. If you're sitting on a chair, back straight, cup your hands in your lap. Close your eyes. And start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. So breathing in. To the lower stomach, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Just clench your sphincter muscle. That's the root lock in yoga. If you've done yoga, it's called the root lock. Mulabandha, I think it's called. It's the muscle you use to contract the flow of urine, squeeze the last drops out. It locks the energy in. And then just feel like you're drawing the energy up the spine. Maybe feel a little warm, tingling sensation in the spine. If you don't, that's okay. If you keep doing it, maybe one day you will. So about raising this life energy or Kundalini energy up the spine into your heart center. So put one hand on your heart to connect with your heart space. Just bringing yourself into the present moment. Breathing in. Connecting with your heart space. And then draw the energy all the way up into the crown of your head. Just pausing at the top of the inhale. Smile. So now just scan your mind. Notice any thoughts, any emotions, any related body sensations going on for you, particularly anything that feels negative, limited, contracted, constricted in any way, shape or form. Just breathe into that. So you're creating some awareness, light. Light is awareness. So look at all those thoughts and emotions and be aware of any negative thoughts and emotions. Anything feels unpleasant, difficult, contracted, constricting in any way, shape or form. Breathe into that. Just create this spacious awareness, this light. And now remind yourself of today's lesson that I am free of suffering today, right now. Just stating the truth. I'm free of suffering. So whatever these thoughts and emotions and body sensations are that are causing you any kind of suffering, they're not true. If you're free of suffering, then they cannot be true. So you can let them go safely. Just exhale now. Exhaling out through your mouth. It's blowing them away. It's the breeze of your breath. Imagine they're like dark clouds just leaving you. It's going into the nothingness that they really are. It's going, gone. Pulling the lower stomach into the spine. Expelling the last remaining air out. And just rest here in the peace and stillness that come when you let go. And just letting your mind sink into that stillness, breathing in and out through your nose. And so you just observe the breath flowing into your nostrils and then out of your nostrils. And you just focus all the attention on the breath, subtle sensations of the breath. There's nowhere else to go, there's nothing else to do. Breathe, relax, be still. Open your mind. So just focusing on the breath clears your mind, creates some space, spacious awareness in your mind, which is light. Into the spacious awareness, this light. Just allow these words from this workbook lesson 340 of Course in Miracles to drop in and just permeate deeply into your mind. And it's permeating into your awareness like water just permeating through the bedrock, dripping down into a cave below. This is your subconscious mind. So open your mind to these really profound ideas, simple but profound ideas. Just keep watching your breath as I speak. I'm going to give you both the original version of this lesson and the translated version, sentence by sentence, translated into a different language to hopefully help you to understand it better. So, Yeshua says, Father, or my source, addressing the deepest part of your own mind. It's not something outside of you. It's your source, very core of your mind, the fiber of your being. That's what you're talking to now. Say, just repeat the words in your own mind after me. Say, Father, or my source, I thank you for today and for the freedom I am certain it will bring. This day is holy. I am wholly aware today. So translated version. For today, your son will be redeemed. For today, your extension, just an extension of the mind of God, the mind of perfect love. So your extension will be freed. You'll feel that freedom coming into your mind. Just breathe it in. Freedom happens in this empty, open, spacious awareness. There's no freedom in contracted, limited awareness. That's suffering. So say, his suffering is done, or my suffering is over. We're going to personalize it. My suffering is over. My suffering is over. Say that again to yourself. Or you will hear your voice directing him to find Christ's vision through forgiveness. So personalize it. Say, for I hear your voice directing me to find my true self's vision through forgiveness or letting go, and be free forever from all suffering. So this will make me free forever from all suffering. Maybe you can get a little glimpse of that eternal state of freedom now. If you're in a nice deep state of awareness, imagine this extended forever, without limit, without end. The ego can't conceive of it, but there's a part of your mind that can. This is the Holy Spirit. So give thanks today. Say thanks for today, my Father or my Source. Just breathe in gratitude, deep thanks for these gifts that you're given. I was born into this world only to experience this day, what it holds in joy and freedom. For your Holy Son or your Holy Aware extension, because we are the extension of this source, and for the world he made. So the world it made, this extension made, which is released along with me today. So you claim your release. Feel the freedom. Comes with this release. Just again, breathe in. Nice deep breath in. Observe any thoughts and emotions, sensations in the body that need to be let go of, that feel contracted, limiting, constricted, unpleasant in any way. This is the darkness, limited awareness. And you're going to blow them all away. It helps you can visualize that you're blowing away dark smoke, black smoke. It's just leaving your mouth, leaving your body, leaving your energy system. So blow it all away. It's the breeze of your breath. And now just again surrender. Each time you let go, go deeper into the stillness. A deep, peaceful presence. So be glad today. Be glad. There is no room for anything but joy and thanks today. Our Father or Source has redeemed his Son this day, has awakened its extension today. So this is happening in your own mind right now. Not one of us but will be saved today. In other words, every one of us will be freed today. Every one of us will be freed today. This loving awareness leaves no one out. Not one who will remain in fear. So everyone will escape from fear. And none the Father will not gather to himself. Awaken heaven in the heart of love. So everyone will escape from fear and unite in our source. Awaken the state of pure formless awareness in the heart of perfect love. And just feel that awake state. Call it God is pure formless awareness, perfect love. Your source is this awareness. So feel this awareness in your mind, just calling to you. It's asking you to surrender to it. And so just sink inwards. Observe the breath again. Just keep watching your breath flowing into the nostrils and out of the nostrils. Observe the breath. Just keep your mind in a nice, calm, clear, empty state. And just sink inwards. To the deep peace and stillness that awaits you. You can experience right now this pure formless awareness of perfect love. That is the truth of you, that is your source. So give yourself the opportunity to experience that by just watching your breath and being still and quiet. If any thoughts arise, all you're going to do is return them to the breath. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, and nothing else to think about for the next couple of minutes of deep silence. Just breathe, relax, and be still. Surrender into this stillness. This is a state of heaven, pure formless awareness, perfect love for the next couple of minutes of deep silence. And so just gently coming back in this deep state into an awareness of your body and the breath and the senses and the world. And on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Just pausing at the top of the inhale, smile. Again, scan your mind. Notice any thoughts, any emotions, any body sensations going on. And particularly anything that feels negative, limited, contracted, constricted. Some tension maybe in your neck and shoulders, not in your stomach, clenched fists. Dry mouth, sweaty palms, nausea, panic attacks. That's the extreme of it. But notice even the subtle cues that you're not in alignment with love. And then one more time, just let them go. Say, I am free of all suffering today. And blow them away. It's like dark clouds leaving you. Blowing them away with the breeze of your breath to the nothingness they really are. Going, gone. Pull the lower stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. And just rest in deep peace and stillness for a few moments. So on the count of 2, notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair and your feet touching the ground. Notice what you're feeling and touching, your hands. And there's a subtle taste in your mouth, a smell in your nose. And notice what you're hearing in the surrounding environment. And just noticing all these things from this very still, calm, and surrendered state of mind. Just from a state of pure awareness, just observing all of your sensations, without judgment. Notice how peaceful that feels when you do that. And so now on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. Just take a minute to look around. Just noticing various objects in the room around you. If there's another person or people, you can notice them as well. And notice that if you don't judge anything, it's all the same. So look for a few seconds at any object randomly selected. Observe it and just notice that there's peace. You don't have to name it, judge it, label it. And look at something else. There's also peace. The same peace arises. And if you do that for half a dozen objects, start to become aware that it's really the same peace. This is your true nature, which you just experienced, and it hasn't gone away just because you came out of a meditation. It's still there. The idea is to carry this awareness, this peace that it brings with you in your daily life, and that's so your life becomes a moving meditation. As the Apostle Paul said, you pray without ceasing because you are connecting with this source all the time, and it's this awareness that is guiding you through life. So even though you're able to perceive and operate in the world, there's a deeper awareness which is always there, and this is why we meditate and we practice these spiritual practices, because it connects you with this deeper awareness source. And if you're in that awareness, your thoughts, your words, your emotions, your actions, everything changes. It's profoundly transformational. That's really what this course is about, staying in that miraculous awareness. Hence it's a Course in Miracles. revelation may come. You can have these deep experiences where you just transcend the body and time and space. But most of the time, you're going to be aware of time and space and the body. But you can be aware from this higher perspective. And when you stay rooted in that awareness, that's the miracle. So your life becomes miraculous, and you operate in the domain of the miraculous. That's why it's called the Course in Miracles. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the meditation. So now I'm just going to open it up a little bit. We normally have an expression session here, but as we have a whole lot of guests, just going to ask anyone if they want to share anything, any comments, any questions, anything like that. Maybe just introduce yourself as well. That'd be useful. So we know who you are. Just say your name and yeah, maybe 30-second intro as to who you are. So yeah. So Jackie and Sally, do you want to kickstart that process?
Hi everyone, I'm Sally. I've been doing John O'Zia's programme since about May last year, and I've been thoroughly enjoying it. It's been life-changing right from the very beginning. And I go on lots of the live calls, don't I, John? I'm usually there.
Yeah, I'd say
listening.
90% probably.
Yeah, because every time I go on, there's a miracle. I have a change of perception, and it's always amazing. And why would anybody want to miss that? So yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, and maybe just speak a bit. You're a teacher yourself, so you're welcome to mention that as well.
Am I a teacher? I don't know what I do really,
Well,
John.
you run courses and workshops.
I run my own courses and workshops, 6-week courses and year course, and it's really helpful being on this as a kind of backup for that. So I've always got someone to listen to me, so I can run my courses and workshops.
Well, I mean, it's a good point, isn't it? Because if you're a healer or a teacher, you need support yourself. So if there's anyone here who is, it can be a great help. And would you say it's taken your teaching to another level?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, really life-changing. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah. So Jackie, anything to share?
Yeah. So I've been doing your course, John, since the end of November. When I moved to Sally's house, and just about the first thing she had me do was join your course, which
I remember,
was extremely helpful. And yeah, it's been very, very insightful. I mean, I've been doing A Course in Miracles for a few years on and off, but this has really taken it to a much deeper level. And yeah, I mean, Sally says it's really helped her in her teaching, and I've also been doing Sally's. Well, I've gone beyond her year now. I did a complete year with her last year, and now starting my second year, and I can see how she's gone deeper in her own teaching. So that's also been very, very helpful and beneficial.
It's helped you. You've got, I mean, you don't have to talk about it, but you've got a personal situation which you're trying to resolve. Has it helped you?
Yeah, well, yes, it has. Definitely. I mean, it's one of those things. It's somewhat ongoing, but it's also brought me back to the course, A Course in Miracles, with a new degree of commitment. So all of it, applying the course to it, and the teachings from this program have really helped. It's all about letting
amazing. And you only 2 months into it, less than 2 months into it. So we're restarting the just so everyone has some idea. We're restarting the program. It's a 1-year program, so there's 365 lessons in the Course in Miracles. So we work through all the workbook lessons, work through the text, the manual for teachers, and the supplements, like the Song of Prayer and the psychotherapy supplement. And if you chunk it down, you do a lesson a day, and you do one section of the text or the manual for teachers or those supplements a day, it ends up being a year pretty much. So it's a 1-year program to really take a deep dive into A Course in Miracles. And what I do as well is just show people the connections, that it's really that this truth is everywhere. So I'll draw on, so today was Viktor Frankl, and talk about his experience, and you start to see that this isn't just in a book. It's not some theory in a book. It's actually the truth that's everywhere. If you open your eyes, you can see it everywhere. And so I draw on lots of different sources and different resources, with the foundational teaching being A Course in Miracles. That's the text that we study and meditate on, as we just did. How's the meditation, actually, everyone? Maybe someone else wants to share. Fiona or Elaine, how did you find that?
I find your meditation, I get a shift, because before I came on this, I was sort of a little edgy and just didn't seem to be able to get rid of it at all. Like a bit of a mind attack, and that just, it's amazing. It's quite nice. So thank you. Thank you.
You feel a bit lighter and clearer after doing it.
It's just a shift. Quite, yeah. It's a little miracle.
Yeah, well, that's what it's all about. The miracle is actually defined as a shift in perception.
Just definitely. So thank you.
Change in perception. So
yes,
and that brings it into the realm of something that you can do all the time. Shift in perception isn't that difficult to do. When I started A Course in Miracles, I sort of thought miracles were walking on water and turning water into wine and raising the dead, and doing all that fantastic stuff that Yeshua did. And I was like, oh, cool, I'd like to do that. I mean, that's honestly why I got into A Course in Miracles. I was really into manifestation, and then as you kind of go with it, you start realizing that it's just way deeper than that, and
it's just that shift.
Much more. So it actually took me about 10 years to realize what a miracle was. To be honest,
it's a life journey. Yes.
Yeah, it is. I think this program, if you really want to get to the bottom of A Course in Miracles and understand it, I think it can accelerate that. It doesn't need to take 10 years, because with some facilitation and interpretation. Oh, thank you, Fiona. Really like your insights and way of looking at the world. Well, it's actually the course's way of looking at the world. I've just applied the teaching, and gets you to see everything differently. That's what it's about. So you change your mind, and you change your perception based on a fundamental change of mind. I'm just gonna show this. I wasn't going to, but we have something called the instrument for peace, which was a process given to a guy called David Hoffmeister, who's quite a well-known teacher of the course, and he speaks to Jesus, Yeshua, and he gave him this diagram. And so this is really what it looks like in diagrammatic form, this miraculous process. So it starts off on the level of perception. You have perception, which is where most people get stuck. It's just, I'm stuck in this misperception of I'm upset, I'm angry, I'm fearful, I'm anxious, whatever it is. So I have emotions, but I'm not necessarily even conscious of those emotions. I'm just stuck in this perception. I don't know how to shift it. So saying underneath that, there's this level of emotion, then there's a level of thought. So thought and emotion go together. There's always a thought behind each emotion, and then you get to your core beliefs. So underneath thought and emotion lies a belief system, and this is really the level that you need to go to undo the ego, because the ego is just a set of beliefs that are false. So what about your feelings and thoughts proves that you're right, that some belief in lack is true. So I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, these are common ideas, I'm a victim, I never get things right, I'm unlovable, and these are the kinds of beliefs that characterize the ego. And so it takes you, this process, and really the entire course, takes you down through these levels of your mind into the core level, which is the desire or the prayer of the heart. You say, what do I really want? Do I want to be a separate self in this situation, governed by a false belief in scarcity and lack, that I'm not good enough? And then the thoughts that go with that. I'm blaming other people. I'm thinking that someone else or myself is to blame. And I'm afraid that something will happen in future. And I'm feeling all kinds of negative emotions as a result, anxious, fearful, angry, upset. And then I'm stuck in this misperception that, yeah, this is unfair. I've been unfairly treated. And, life is really pretty awful. And whatever other perceptual result comes from all of this. You're saying the only way to transform this is to go in to the core and realize that all of this is a result of a choice that we've made. And if you choose the ego, then you choose to be a separate self. And you choose that self-concept, which then requires a belief that you're a separate person, that you can be harmed, that you're a victim, that there's external circumstances, because all of that makes you seemingly separate from everyone and everything else. And then the thoughts that come from that are not positive thoughts. They're generally sort of victim type thoughts. Emotions are not positive. Victim emotions, feeling unfairly treated, grievances, resentment, anger, frustration, and so on. And then all of that makes up your perception. So if you want to change that, you have to go through all of those and experience them. It's not always easy to do this kind of work, but that's the kind of work I facilitate, to get to the core level, which is the desire or prayer of the heart, where you say, I don't want to be a separate self anymore. I realize that this is just a belief. And by continuing to perceive in this way and feel these feelings and have these thoughts, I'm confirming that this belief is true. And it's not true. I realize that it's not true. And it's a decision to continue to believe that it's true. So I can choose otherwise. And at that level of choice, when you choose otherwise, and you choose to be oneself, Yeshua calls it the Christ, or the one self, or the true self, then your belief must change. I cannot be a victim if I'm the one self, because actually I have all power. My mind is powerful. And I realize that I've just made a mistake. These false beliefs in a separate self are not true. I'm one self. And so your thought changes. You can't think of yourself as a victim. You can't blame anyone. You can't fear anything, because you are already whole and complete. That one self is complete. And so the emotions that come from that, really states of mind, or things like peace, happiness, joy, love, freedom. And that then profoundly changes your perception. Instead of perceiving yourself as unfairly treated and a victim, getting angry, you feel actually quite at peace. You feel like you've let go of the situation and you're okay just as you are, irrespective of what the outcome is. And so that process is what we call forgiveness. It's going through the levels of mind, getting to the core level of the desire or prayer of the heart, changing your mind there, and then it ripples all the way back up through belief, thought, emotion, and perception. And then you have a transformation in your perception, because you've changed your mind about who you are. And so that's what the miracle does. It changes your mind about who you are, and you now have a different self, your true self, rather than your false self, which is driving the show, which is underlying all of this. And so that's what it's designed to do, and that's in a nutshell what this program is designed to do. By helping you to learn the course, A Course in Miracles, in a very systematic, thorough way. It's helping you to get really good at this process of letting go of forgiveness, going through these levels, changing your mind at the core level, and then from that core change, the beliefs, thoughts, emotions, and perceptions change. Okay, so any questions about that? Let's go back to our share, shall we? Anyone else got anything else to share? Elaine, you didn't actually introduce yourself, so maybe you just want to tell us who you are, on the level of form. Who you are is beyond words, really. But what it is you do and what brought you here.
Yes. Well, Jackie recommended you, but I have been studying, but more reading the course the last 3 years. with a wonderful group on a Monday evening, and they sort of other sort of modalities they're doing as well. It's quite interesting, that one, because we bring our thoughts to the group as well. So there's but not so serious with the workbook or the discipline. It's more just chatting and so forth, whereas I'd like to go a bit deeper. So this certainly appeals to me. Yes.
Well,
so about 3 years. Yeah.
This is a deep dive into A Course in Miracles. So if you want that, you're in the right place to start your hero's journey.
That's it. Yes.
And it's all kicking off next month, so perfect timing, really.
Yeah.
So I'll talk a little bit more about that just now. I just wanted to chat to Aurélie. Aurélie, is that how you say it? Aurélie?
Yes, Aurélie. Yes. Hello. Thank you. Thank you so much for this evening. Yeah, it's enlightening. Yeah, and I'm also part of the Monday group that Elaine was talking about, where we read the Course in Miracles, and we started doing some healing as well, which is it's very nice. And I really enjoy your meditation as well. I felt the feeling of wholeness that I haven't felt for a while now. So, I mean, I do meditate as well, but my mind is busy with thoughts or emotions. So yeah, tonight I really managed to get into a peaceful state where I felt more whole. Yeah.
Well, that's what it's all
more
about.
Whole and complete. So thank you.
Sorry? No, it was only a pleasure. It's actually the spirit, you know, everything's happening because of the Holy
Your
Spirit.
willingness, yeah.
So I'm just a vehicle, a channel for it. And you know, if you're open to it and receptive, then it'll speak through me to you and give you what you need, which is that's how it works.
Yes.
So very pleased that you had that experience. And the good news is you can have it every day, because I do this daily, except Saturdays. I have one day off. So but 6 days a week. So I'll give you a little bit of background just about like how I came up with this. I've been studying the course for a number of years, since 2006. A lot on my own. I did a lot of audio listening, reading, watching YouTube videos, that kind of thing. I started a group of my own, so I started teaching it from quite an early age. But I didn't really feel like those sessions. I'd do like once a week. We'd meet for a couple of hours, and it was nice. And you'd cover a section. We'd choose a section of the text or something, and it was nice. But it was a discussion session, kind of like we're doing now. But I didn't feel like once a week was nearly adequate. I didn't really feel like people were undergoing any kind of transformation. It was more like, let's meet once a week, and it's nice, and there's a connection, and it's certainly better than nothing. But the course, if you're going to do it properly, is a mind training program, and he's asking you to do it every day, do the lessons. And so I decided about 4 years ago, 2018, that I wanted to create to start with a course. It started with a 6-week course that would introduce people to A Course in Miracles and really guide them through the first 35 workbook lessons and the first 5 chapters of the text in quite a systematic way. So it would be like, okay, a lot of what might not be understandable is going to be explained. You're going to get an opportunity to really ask questions in these live sessions, and started it off by doing live sessions twice a day. There was an afternoon session and evening session, and it was quite successful. People did get a lot of shift and transformation. And then from there I decided that I needed to make it into 1-year program, because 6 weeks I wanted to do the course justice. I didn't feel like there was a program out there that really did this course justice in terms of helping people to learn what it's about, and it's profound teaching. And so I it's been an iterative process over 4 years. I've delivered the course, and as I've delivered it, I've been developing it and improving it. And when we get to February the 5th, I'll have finished the entire year. We have lessons, meditations, breath breaks. So those are just shorter, sort of 4, 5, 6 minute recordings on each lesson to do the shorter practice, plus longer meditations, discussion sessions on pretty much every lesson, all available. And so, if you decide to join the program, that's what you'll get next this year, going into next year. So it's a very kind of guided, facilitated, deep dive into A Course in Miracles.
So do you join every day, once a day, or is it twice a day still? Or?
Yeah, so good question. It's on the ongoing program, it's once a day, but in the 6-week course, I'm going to do it twice a day because I want to do the text, which we haven't really done the text to my satisfaction in the first 6 weeks. So because there's a lot of other material. There's the workbook lessons, and then there's other teachings. I bring in background stuff like this instrument for peace, and there's a 10-step letting go process, and I talk about the integral model, and there's quite a lot to just kind of frame what the course is. So the idea is to cover that in the afternoon session, which will be from 12:30 UK time. That's are you in France? 1:30.
Yes, I'm in France. So right now it's about 9.
Yeah, you're 1 hour ahead. So
9:30.
that'll be 1:30 in the afternoon for you, Monday to Friday and Sundays. And then in the evenings we'll focus on the text, and we'll actually study the sections. I break it down into sections. Section 1. Chapter 1, section 1, and we do that will be a session, which can, depending on how long it is, that can take an hour to 2 hours, depending on the length of it. Where we study it, we translate it. So the project will ultimately come up with a translation of A Course in Miracles. I'll just show you this.
Yeah, because translation, I don't know what you mean by translation, like into your own jargon or into your own wording.
Into a different kind of language. So I'll give you an
Okay.
example. Can you see the screen there?
Yeah.
There's lesson 340, today's lesson. So there you've got the original text. That's in black. And then the alternative version is in gray, and I've bolded the sections. I normally just italicize them, but this is in italics anyway, so I've bolded it as well to show you what's been changed.
Okay, yeah.
So that you can read both.
With source, yeah.
So that you can read both. So instead of Father, it's my source. Instead of Son, it's extension. Instead of Christ, it's my true self. And for a lot of people, that makes a difference, generally speaking. And there's some people who like the original words, in which case they're there. You can read those, but generally speaking, most people seem to get more out of the alternative, the translation. It reveals something else that wasn't revealed in the original text, and that's really the point. I'm not doing it just for the sake of it. It's a lot of work. It's so that a deeper meaning gets revealed through the translation, and it maybe opens up the course to people who are not necessarily into Christianity, traditional Christianity. Some people have a strong averse reaction to traditional Christianity because of their past experiences. So just change the language then. You don't have to use Christ. Use my true self. Instead of Son of God, use extension of perfect love. It's the same thing. That these words are just pointers, as Yeshua said, symbols twice removed from reality, just pointers to the truth. So if those pointers, these pointers don't work, use another pointer. That's all we're doing. And that translation then maybe opens up the true meaning of it, when previously it was blocked. And a lot of people don't do the course because they don't like the language, which is a shame, because it's pointing to some very deep truths.
Yes, the lessons are very powerful. Very powerful message.
So the translation just seems to take it to another level for most people. Maybe Sally especially, because you've been doing this for 8 months now, doing these translations. Maybe just give your.
I'm afraid Sally's taking the dog for a walk.
Oh, that's she. Okay.
It's
Yeah. So Jackie, how have you found it? You've only been doing it for a couple of months.
Yeah, the translations are very helpful. It does help you to see it differently. Get a different sense of it. It seems to sink in more deeply. Yeah,
They
but
talk
it's also,
about, feeling into it. So it's like, can you actually feel that? It's not just an intellectual concept. It's, can you actually feel it? And the alternative version seems to just do that better. People can get a deeper connection, a deeper emotional experience as a result, and that's what it's all about. It's not too many people, I think, do the course on an intellectual level, and you can study the words and you can even understand intellectually what it's saying, but if you don't feel it, it's very superficial.
You don't get the results that you would want, probably.
I mean, in the end, he's saying to us, this is a universal experience of truth that's necessary. A universal theology is impossible, but a universal experience is not only possible but necessary. If you're going to really get this course, it becomes experiential at the highest level. So you start with the intellect, and he starts you with the words and concepts, and then gradually it's about going more into the experience. So you really feel and it's a feeling, and it's a knowing the truth, and that's when it's really profoundly transformational, because if you have those feelings and you have that knowing, then your thought system has changed. You're no longer thinking the ego's thoughts, feeling those emotions. You're now in tune with the Holy Spirit and being directed by this this other thought system. And it's like an operating system. I mean, that's quite a good analogy, really. So if you look at like a computer, this computer's been run on Windows. That's the operating system. Now, the operating system just works by default. You're not aware of it. It's just happening. And it's making all the applications like Word and whatever else, Zoom, work. And that's just kind of working in the background, and you're not consciously aware of it. So it's the same with the operating system of our mind.
Yeah.
Not consciously aware of it. It's just kind of your default program. And so this A Course in Miracles is like changing the operating system of your mind. And that's not an insubstantial exercise. Just try getting rid of Windows from your computer, and you'll see how difficult that is to do. It's possible, but you have to reformat it and install another operating system, and then everything, all of the apps, programs that run rely on the operating system. So then you've got to reinstall all of that. So it's a profound change. The entire machine is now working differently. Anyone who's ever done a change from Windows to another operating system like Linux will tell you, it's profound. So that's what you're doing with this course. And so to change your operating system is what it's all about. And in my view, you really need to practice daily. Doing once a week isn't enough. If you're practicing the daily lessons, great, but are you doing it to the depth that it could be done to? Probably not. How many times a day do you remind yourself of the lesson? Because he sets a high standard. He's saying, well, do this, say, twice a day, sometimes 3 or 4 times a day in a longer practice period, and then every hour, ultimately it gets to every hour, do a shorter practice period. Because he's trying to get us to interrupt the pattern of the ego frequently. So, what I've done is created, recorded what I call breath breaks and meditations. I'll just click on one of them. So there's a 29-minute meditation. Welcome to this on today's lesson. So you can go listen to that, and that's your longer practice, the morning and the evening. And then if you want to practice in a shorter way, there's a 6-minute breath break.
Is this in the email that you sent?
Yeah, so it's all there. So all the resources.
Thank you very much.
So this, well, you won't have got it now because you just registered for the masterclass. But if you decide to join the program, then every day you get an email like this, which has your material for the day. So it's got my commentary on it. It's got a quote, kind of leads you nicely into the lesson. And then you can actually practice the lesson by listening to the longer meditation or the shorter rest break. And I send this out in the. Are you getting my Telegram messages? So I
I
sent.
received a message on WhatsApp today.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, because I added you to a group. So I send out a sort of shortened version of this on WhatsApp and Telegram as well. If you're a member and you join the program, then you get all of this with all the resources. If you go a bit further down, there's some other stuff. So every day you could wake up and you could do a meditation, 1 hour meditation, which is really helpful. If you don't have time, you can do 40 minutes, 30 minutes. There's a 10-step letting go process. So there's a lot of resources in this. This is kind of your resource center.
Right now, it feels like too much for me, actually, personally. It feels like too much because I'm trying to actually calm my mind into a peaceful state, and having to read all of these emails and the content is too much for me. It feels like, yeah, I don't know, it feels like a bombardment, but maybe that's the state of mind I'm in.
So let me
Orly,
just
can I just say something on that?
yeah,
I know exactly what you mean, Orly, because I felt the same. I don't read. I mean, I should admit this. I don't read all the emails because sometimes it feels like a lot. But the key is that I find coming onto the live sessions, and that's when I really get a lot out of it. And what is fantastic is if you've got something going on that you want to help with, you can bring it to the session. There's a part where the session's not recorded. Johnny calls it an expression session. I've had things going on. I've just been able to say, this is happening in my life, my perceived illusion. And Johnny will really, apply all these techniques and help you see it differently and give you so much insight. And that's, for me, what is really special about the program.
I agree with you, because I used to facilitate also expression sessions and ACIM clarity process from the David of Meister clarity process. I used to facilitate, and I find this like more powerful for me for this experience of releasing and letting go in the present moment like this. Yeah. That's what works the best for me, to really release what's happening and to feel that wholeness and peace of mind.
Yeah. So there's a lot of facets to the program. You don't have to read all this stuff. If you join the live sessions, we cover it in the afternoon session anyway. So
you do expression sessions as well, eh?
Yeah. So as part of a live call, be like, has anyone got anything to share? And then we don't record that, and there can be a sharing of whatever. So that's when it gets practical. So okay, well, I've got this issue coming up, and then so often you can apply these teachings. The lesson's perfect, or the teaching for the day is perfect. Apply it, and then people come away with a sense of relief. Okay, I've actually done some letting go. Practically real time in that session. So it's kind of group coaching, really. There's not a lot of people at the moment in the program. I'm hoping it's going to grow this year, but generally the sessions are just a few people, maybe sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of maximum. So it's quite intimate and personal, and you can share stuff, and it's a safe space where these kinds of teachings can be applied, and you can work through the stuff. All the emails there. You don't have to read it. The resources are there. You can listen to them. Some people have found this very valuable, like the meditation in the morning. Saying that's amazing. That makes the whole program worthwhile. That's what worked for them. So it's your email is your resource center. You're probably not going to. You certainly wouldn't read all of this, but at any point in the day, you can go, okay, so what's on the menu today? Okay, well, there's something for me. I could go and do this helpfulness prayer. You could make it a regular part of your day, which ideally I recommend.
I do meditate, and I facilitate meditations every Monday as well. Group meditation.
So you're a teacher as well. So it could just support you in your own practice, your own teaching, and take you a bit deeper. And we all need that, that help and support and guidance. And that's what the program does. So if you're up for it, what I'm going to suggest is join on a 3-week free trial, so you can just see if it works for you. Join some of the live sessions. You've kind of experienced what we do, because today I just, this is pretty much what we do. Go through the email, and then do a meditation, and then an expression we didn't really do, but and then we'll finish off the session by doing the lesson, just reading and discussing the lesson for the day. So you can try the program, see if it works for you, and then in the the remainder of it, so there's a 6-week course. The first 3 weeks is your free trial, and the remainder of the 3 weeks I take you through quite a profound transformational process, which is guided and facilitated every Sunday. We do, it's like a transformational workshop, where we work through this manual. So this is your course manual. There's a lot of resources in here, and if you get down to section 2, which is transformational exercises, then in the 6-week course you go through these exercises. And I kind of guide you through it. We discuss it in the sessions. The real core, the heart of the transformation, is in exercise 5, naming your ego's game. So that's a group exercise we do, where you really get to see your ego stuff. It reveals,
yeah, that's a good one.
it reveals it to you, and then from there, once you've seen it and you've identified it, you can then flip your flop or turn it around. And so then I work you through these exercises, finding your true identity, turning it around. So each of these is a live session that we do on a Sunday.
And that's part of the 3 weeks, or what is it in the 3 weeks?
So we get to the first 3 weeks gets you up to exercise 5. So it's kind of a lead in, it's a warm up, gets you an idea, is this for me or not? And then after week 3, I'm gonna ask you to commit, pay a fee to commit if you want to, and then dive deeper. And then I guide you through, in the next 3 weeks, guide you through this process. So you get me facilitating a session. There'll be a group of us, usually anywhere from 5 to 10 people, and I guide you through these processes. And then you get this feedback, which is really hugely helpful. You can now then use that feedback and use this exercise that I've given you to really, it's not theoretical anymore. It's really practical. It's experiential transformation. These kinds of processes were done pioneered by a guy called Werner Erhard in the 1970s and 80s in America.
What's his name? Sorry.
Werner Erhard. If you've read Gary Renard's book, Disappearance of the Universe, did you read that by any chance?
I started reading it. I don't know if I finished it.
So in it, he talks about his story. So his journey was, he was quite addicted to drugs and alcohol. And in the 1970s, he was kind of a zombie by his own, because he was just spaced out the whole time. And then he did one of these seminars, an EST training, it was called. That was very transformational for him. That helped him to kind of get his life on some kind of track. He then became a musician, and in the 80s, he was actually quite functional. And he credits the transformational work he did in that workshop that he did. And it's this kind of transformational experiential exercises. It's in that tradition. There's a guy in South Africa who went and did it, and then he brought it to South Africa, because I'm from South Africa. And then a number of people started teaching these kinds of workshops and seminars, and I've done a number of them. So it's in that tradition, and it's profoundly transformational. It really, it's because it's experiential.
Yes,
it's not just
I resonate more with very experiential.
Yeah, it's experiential. So it gives you an actual experience. It makes it very personal. So there's nowhere to hide. It's not for the faint-hearted. But if you really want transformation,
you got to
that's what you have to do.
Yeah,
that's what you have to do. So I guide you through that process, facilitate it for you, and that's the remainder of the exercise in here. Finding your true identity, your essence identity. There's a blueprint for your higher self, which comes out of that, which is really how do you actually live that? So you find your essence identity. How do you live that? And so it's discovering that true self, and being reborn into another self, and creating another operating system to actually live in that way. Finding your higher purpose. So we talk about that. How does this actually express in your life? Inspired decision making. So if you've got a particularly problematic situation in your life where you need an answer, or problematic relationship, this really helps. And again, it's group work, which we do online in Zoom.
That's after 3 weeks, this one, right? Or is it started?
Yeah. So the bulk of the really transformational stuff comes in the second 3 weeks. The program structured. So the first 3 weeks is a lead in, and you're working through some of the lessons and the text, and that's great. And it gives you yes, I'm either in this or not. And then at the end of week 3, I say, okay, are you up for this? Do you want to commit? And that's kind of the take the red pill or blue pill moment. Are you up for this? Are you going to continue? Or, do you want to take the blue pill and just carry on and do whatever? As Morpheus says, go home, believe whatever you want to believe. It's up to you. But if you want to take the red pill, then we go down the rabbit hole together into your mind and really uncover the ego and reveal it and transform it. And it's not easy work, but it's very profound. It's very transformational. And that's where I decided a number of years ago when I came across this. I was like, I didn't just want to share information. I wanted to really take people through a deep transformation and do that kind of work. And it probably means you're going to have less people because not everyone's up for it. But if you're up for it, then this is a course that's going to do that. And then post that, again, a lot of these kinds of online courses or workshops, seminars, retreats, which we've all been on, they kind of leave you. So, okay, you've done this work, and then what? And they just kind of drop you. And you might have had a very profound experience, and then that's it. So, workshop's over, go back to your life, pick up the pieces somehow, and there's no support. So there's a 1-year program which helps you to really work through what you experienced, to really create another self, really another operating system, another self that you're installing, another operating system. And that that's an ongoing process. It takes time to really learn how to live again. It's being reborn. How do you live again? And so there's ongoing daily support. You can join the live calls, work through issues that are coming up. I'm available for one-on-one sessions as well, so that's an option. I do individual coaching, so that there's really a lot of support to help you in this journey of awakening.
Thank you.
Yeah, so
it resonates a lot. I think there's a lot of synchronicities I can see in resonance.
Yeah, well, that's how it works.
Yeah,
and there's no accident you're here. So
I know.
Return to the hero's journey. It's okay. Are you up for it? Are you going to go further after tonight?
Yeah, I'm on that call to adventure for sure.
The call to adventure. Yeah, it's okay. Are you up for it? I'm saying to you, are you willing to go into this unknown?
Yeah, I've been there many times.
Yeah.
Well, it's many times.
You can cycle through this a number of times.
I know as well.
Yeah, this can happen, many times.
Yeah, I feel like I've had many lifetimes already.
So every time you cycle through it, there's another level of
layers or levels.
Yeah, layers. So ultimately, this program is designed to take you beyond the ego, totally beyond the ego, collapse it all, have an authentic spiritual transformation, death of the ego, rebirth into your true self or Christ self, and then support you in the ongoing journey. After that, well, then what? Okay, well, you're not on your own. You've got me and a bunch of people who are on the same journey, supporting you and helping you and guiding you to find another way of living. And then then your purpose becomes, well, generally people become teachers and healers, because what else are you going to do with this this knowledge?
Exactly.
So there's
I can feel I'm already both. I can feel it.
Yeah, no, exactly. So that seems to be quite common. Sally's teaching and healing.
Yeah.
A couple of other people who are in the community. And I'd say it's, this is for people who are serious.
Yeah.
It's not, you can dip in, do the 3 weeks, and that's fine. And, no hard feelings if you didn't want to continue. But if you're really up for transformation, then this is a program that can deliver that. And, we'll go to the very core. I don't work on a shallow level. It's very deep, very deep transformation that this facilitates. So if you're up for it, I invite you, both of you, Elaine and Aurelia. It sounds like both of you, and the fact that you're here after 2 hours, you're still here. So obviously there's some resonance. Join on the 5th of February. We're starting the 6-week course. It's for 6 weeks, 43 days to be precise, until the let me just bring up PowerPoint actually, so I can show you some of this. Let's put that into there. So dates and times, just so you've got it on a big screen. So starting on the 5th of February and then finishing Sunday the 19th. So it is a course. You could then decide, okay, I've done the course and I don't want to go further. But after that, on the Monday, we'll go straight into the next iteration of the program. So just pick up where we left off, and you can carry on if you want to. But it's designed as a 6-week kind of standalone. You could just do it and go, look, I got a lot of benefit from that, and that's great. I don't want to go further. So there's exit points. Week 3, you can choose not to go further after your free trial. At that point, you might say, okay, I've done enough. But hopefully you'll decide to carry on and join our program and do the full year, where we go through the entire Course in Miracles, the text and the workbook. And the focus this year is going to be on the text, because we've focused on the workbook last year, and I can't do 2 sessions a week sustainably for the whole year. So we're going to focus the sessions on the text, and then the workbook lessons. There's recordings. So I've got detailed recordings from this year, which you can listen to. I'll give that all to you in your email and your Telegram message. And we'll do a deep dive into the text every day and really explore that. And then so next year we'll have all of those sessions as recordings. So we're building up some really great resources. So this program will just continue to evolve and get deeper with a lot of resources there. It doesn't mean everyone uses them, but they'll be accessible to members.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, and then that's just the timing of the session. So it's 12:30 UK time, Monday to Friday and Sundays, and so that'll be 1:30 your time, really.
Yes.
And then also Monday to Friday at 7:30 UK time, so that's 8:30 your time.
So that's during this period from the 5th of February to the 19th
yes,
of March.
correct. Yeah, so it's more intense because there's more content to cover, and I want to do it thoroughly and also cover the text. In years gone by, I haven't managed to cover a lot of the text. So the idea is the afternoons will cover any other teaching in the workbook lesson, and the evenings will cover the text. And if you can't make all of those sessions, then you can catch the recordings. So I post it all on YouTube, and I also post it to Telegram. There's a Art of Letting Go Club members group, which if you join the program, then I'll join you to, and the recording gets recorded on my phone and sent to that. So you've got it in a number of formats. You can listen to it on the Telegram message as a voice recording. You can listen to it on YouTube.
I don't have Telegram, but I have WhatsApp.
Yeah, so if you're going to join this program, I'd suggest you join Telegram.
Okay.
Because I've chosen that. It's just a better. I won't go into the technical details, but it's better if you're giving this amount of material, meditation and stuff. It doesn't download to your phone, so you can choose to download it or not. It stays on the server.
Okay.
And your phone doesn't get clogged up.
Yes.
It also means I can edit. If I've made any errors, I can go back and edit stuff. With WhatsApp, once it's sent, it's sent. So it's a better platform. So if you want to join us, then just download
Telegram.
Yeah.
And these 2 sessions there, how long are they on? How long do they last for, these 2 sessions?
So anywhere between an hour and a half and 3 hours, depending on what we got to cover. Generally, I'd say probably 2 hours intermediate, but again, it depends. Like, let's say we're doing the text, and the text is 15 paragraphs as opposed to 7. Obviously, that's going to take longer. So it depends. But in the afternoon, the first kind of 20 lessons are quite short. So could say 2 hours in the afternoon, and generally probably a couple of hours in the evening. So it's pretty, if you want to really make this intensive, you could join all the live sessions. You can do a really deep dive immersion, but it's a lot of people go, but that's overwhelming. But what you got to understand is you don't have to do all of it. It's all there, and you choose what you're going to do and what works for you. And then the rest is recorded, so you can listen to those recordings whenever, at your leisure. Or not. Maybe you don't listen to all the recordings. There's a lot of material. But if you do even 10%, 20% of the course, and you join the Sunday sessions, because that's when we do the transformational stuff, you'll get a huge benefit just doing some of it. If you really went fully into it and did 4 hours a day, and you'll get huge transformation in 6 weeks. Because you can't do this amount of intensity with working with this kind of non-dual material and not shift. It's impossible not to. I've just seen it over and over. So you decide where you're at. How much time can you commit to it? That's up to you. Maybe you can do an hour a day, in which case there's a power hour. I'm doing it so that you get like we did. The first hour of the session was the teaching on the quote, and any of the teaching that I'd written down in the email, just discussing that, and then a meditation. So that could be like, okay, I can do that every day, do the hour. If you want to go on, then you can carry on, and we'll go and actually do the lesson. And in the afternoon, there's some other material included in the course that we'll cover. So you can then stay, for the rest of it, catch the recording if you do the first hour. So it's really pretty flexible. You decide, where how much you want to do it. You don't have to apologize to me if you don't make a session. It's like whoever shows up, and I give the teaching, and you can get the rest of it on a recording. So it's pretty flexible. There's a lot of material, but you decide what level you want to do it. And the first 3 weeks is really, okay, does this work for me or not? Can this fit into my life, into my daily schedule? Do I want to continue with this process or not? And that's why I don't charge. I'm like, well, decide. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, no hard feelings. You gave it a go, and it doesn't work for everyone, but about 50% of people carry on and say yes. I'm up for it because the format works, and that you got to resonate with the teacher as well. I'm just a facilitator, but I'm present in every session, and the general vibe of it, and the other group members, and all of that. It's kind of got a gel. If it's a fit, then you're great. You continue, and if not, then no hard feelings. So I mean that's it in a nutshell. The structure, I'll just talk a little bit about that, so you have an idea of how it works. I've already mentioned, but in the first sort of week, we explore the theory behind the course. We read and discuss the first chapter of the text. We work through exercises 1 to 3 in the course manual. Study and apply the first 7 pathways to higher consciousness, which is really, it's very similar to A Course in Miracles, but it's using different language. So a lot of people find it quite valuable. And then there's actually a breathwork course, which I'll teach you as well. So 7, actually 10, I've upgraded, I must change that. 10 fundamental breathwork techniques that you go through in the first 3 weeks. So there's a lot in it, and that's, sorry, it is 10, 7 in the first week, and then the other 3 after the first week. And then in weeks 2 to 6, we deepen into it. we start the lessons, work through 35 lessons of the workbook, first 35 lessons, and read and discuss chapters 2 to 5 of the text, and we work through the other exercises, as well as other material in this course manual. So there's 50 pages. It's quite densely packed, working through things like the 10-step letting go process, which I've developed based on the course's teachings. We spend a session on that. Talking about the integral model, we'll do a session on that. The 7 truths, the descent into hell, which explains the metaphysics of the course. We do a session on that, and so on. So there's quite a lot. There's a lot in the course. That can really help your understanding. They're the pathways to higher consciousness. We look at the map of consciousness, David Hawkins. Some of it you may be familiar with, other stuff not. But
who is this, David? Who did you say it is?
David Hawkins. It's a guy who created this map of consciousness based on kinesiology, and he wrote a book called Power versus Force.
Oh yeah.
We just kind of reference to that. And then what you start seeing is that, really all of these different teachers and modalities and models, they all really point to the same thing. It's all pointing in the same direction to one ineffable truth that is, indescribable, which is, what we call God or heaven in A Course in Miracles. So there's a lot of material. It's it's an immersion experience, and at the end of it, if you've done it properly, that you will come out transformed. I can guarantee that. If you've done the 6 weeks properly, there will be a shift, and exactly what that is and how it looks. But you get what you need to get out of it if you do this. So in terms of then just finishing, we'll study and apply the last 5 pathways, learn and practice the holotropic breathing. So we do a holotropic breathing session at the end. There's a lot of different things that I've incorporated into it around the framework of A Course in Miracles, but it's not just A Course in Miracles in the 6 weeks. And then afterwards we study the course, the text, and the workbook every day. So that's the foundation of it. And again, I bring in other teachings, and I'll bring in a quote, and I'll kind of reference to stuff, so that you start to see that this isn't just the theory in a book. It's everywhere. There's a little testimonial on the course structure. I like doing the 2 calls a day, different vibe in the 2, different people. You gain a lot out of them. Teaching, this was the beta course that I did about 4.5 years ago. So it's certainly evolved quite a bit since then, but this is what Mike had to say about it. Great job keeping the flow, finding any aspect to talk about. Many of your texts are very enlightening. So it's like I'm on every call, but there's other people as well. So it becomes a discussion session, really, and anything that you want to bring and talk about, we're happy to talk about as well. So if you do the 1-year program, I'm just going to briefly give you an idea of what's involved, some of the value. So the 6-week course is probably valued at about £2,500 if you unpacked all the elements, which I'm happy to do if you want to stay. But it incorporates live online meditations, discussion sessions, recorded meditations, breath breaks, and discussions, 1 content-rich email every day, and then several Telegram messages a day. If I broke that down and I charged individually for it, it would be crazy. I mean, so we're looking at like £15,000 of value over a year, just to give you a perspective on it. But I'm not charging anything like that. I'm just really discounted it. So I'm going to go to the course. If you want to do this now, you feel the resonance. Until Monday, it's £147. Thereafter, it's going to go up, and giving an early bird discount. You don't have to do that. If you want to just do the 3-week free trial, that's another way of doing it. But if at the end of the 3 weeks, if you want to continue, then it's to £197. So there's an advantage to committing now and doing it. because it's about commitment, really. If you commit now, then you're on board. But if you don't want to do that, you can wait and just do the 3-week free trial. It's up to you. And I give a money back guarantee in the first 3 weeks. So 6 of one, half a dozen of another. And then if you want to do the whole course, the whole year, that, let me just go there. I've done these. So there's the value in terms of investment. It's $970 for the whole year. And again, that's a discount, huge discount. You probably won't want to commit to that up front, but on an ongoing basis, that's what you're looking at. So I've tried to make it pretty reasonable. If you're going to commit to this and make it like a regular program, doing it every day, like Jackie and Sally are, then that's pretty reasonable. Just so there is a charge, but I've tried to make it as affordable as possible. And if you just want to do the free trial, then that's fine. So yeah, any questions? And maybe just give me an indication of where you're at. Would you like to join us for that 3-week free trial?
I think I need to think about it, because that's a lot of information right now. It's a lot of information, and I'm already doing a lot, I feel. So I just need to meditate on it, and I'll get back to you.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, anything you got? Any questions now you want to ask? Is it all clear, or do you need any more information on anything?
Yes. So what you said for I wasn't sure after after the 3 weeks trial, how much would it be for the rest of the 6 weeks? Sorry, I misunderstood that.
Yeah. So if you want to continue, then it's at that point it's $197 for the whole course, or you could have the option to dive in if you committed to it, and you could do the whole year for $970. So you'll have that choice. If you commit now before Monday, then the course is only $147.
Okay.
So there's an advantage to doing it up front, but if you want to wait and just see how it goes in the first 3 weeks, that's fine. So 140, let me just bring that up. I'll just maybe make that a bit clearer in the slides. So 147 now. If you do it before Monday, it's an early bird discount and a special. If you wait until 3 weeks into the course to commit, it'll be 197. So there's an advantage to committing now.
197. Okay.
Yeah, for the rest of the course. Or at that point, I'll say, well, you can also join for the full year. If you've already convinced Sally after 3 weeks, like, okay, I'm going to join for the whole year. So if it resonates with you, then you could also do the whole year. In which case, it would be in this sort of order of magnitude. And this is again a special 970 is the special until Monday.
And it's a once off, or is it in several installments, or how does this work?
Yeah, so generally that's an upfront. So you could also pay regularly. Some people just do monthly, but I'm giving you it's a 2-month discount to do it up front. So if you pay the $970 up front, then you're getting 2 months free and a serious discount. So that would be up front. Okay. If you want to do installments, then just you can go on a monthly basis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know what? I'd suggest if you're not sure, then just jump in, do the 3 weeks 3-week free trial, and you'll know at the end of the 3 weeks. It'll be clear to you, whether you want to continue or not. That's why I do the 3 weeks, because I know it can seem a bit overwhelming and there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's
But
a lot
actually,
of information. Yeah.
a lot of information, yeah. But actually, if you do the 3 weeks, what I do is I break it down into bite-sized chunks. So we do it session by session, email by email, and it's little packet-sized, so you can digest it. And for most people, that first week or so is just adjusting, going, okay, how do I actually work with this? But they realize that there's all this material available, but they find their own flow with it. what's going to work for you. And
Yeah.
that's really what the 3 weeks is about. Okay, does this actually work? Can it fit in to my schedule? Can I make this a part of my, my routine, and make this work for me? And if so, then, continue. And if not, well, it's fine. No hard feelings.
Mhm.
The beauty of digital is it doesn't cost me anything extra to have you on the course. So it's like, I'm not losing, you don't have to feel bad. I'm not losing anything. So I can make it freely available and say, okay, we'll give it a try
Thank
without
you.
any risk.
Yeah, it's just that I have a lot of resources already. I've got a lot of tools as well. I've done a lot of training. I've done a lot of similar. I've done a lot of things. I mean, maybe it's not what you have, but I've done a lot of things as well. So that's why I feel like I've reached already a level of knowledge already, and yeah, I just need to meditate on it and feel into it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
But thank you so much. I really appreciated
Yeah.
this
Pleasure.
masterclass. It was wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. And I'll send you a follow-up tomorrow, an email with the link to the recording, so you can listen to it again if you want.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And yeah, just some of the details I put in here about pricing and how it works and stuff. So watch out for my email.
Thank you.
So yeah, any other questions, Elaine? You've been quite quiet. Any questions?
Well, no, it's a lot to absorb there, but yes, no, I'm going to start the 3-week trial. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic.
Well, yeah.
So I'd advise join that in February. Yeah, from the 5th of February.
Yes. Yeah.
I'd dive and do your 3 weeks with the actual course, so that you get a taste of it.
Just to get into it. Yes. Yeah. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, if you want to join us for the odd session, then feel free to do that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, again, I'm sure the course will be for me, but it's always nice to get a little bit more feel. Yeah. So I'll certainly go with that, and then take it from there.
Yeah. Excellent.
But thank you very much. Yeah. No, it sounds very, very interesting, and at the end of the day, we just all want to find peace. And this resonates with me. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, you're most welcome. My pleasure. So yeah, I'll send you a follow-up email with some links and recordings. I'm going to give you a 10-step letting go process, just to say thank you for joining. A written process as well as a meditation, and login link if you want to join us. Or really the same thing. If you want to join for a couple of sessions before February, if you're not sure, you're welcome to join us.
Which session? Sorry, which session?
So we're doing live sessions every day. So you're welcome to join us for one or two of those, and just get another sense of it before the 5th of February.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
The same login link. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'll put the details in my email, and you're on the WhatsApp group. In fact, will you join Telegram? Because then I'll add you to the Telegram group.
Yeah, I will download it. Yeah.
Download it, and then I send out daily messages to that, and include when the live sessions are. Sometimes the times change a bit. So if you watch the Telegram group, then you'll see when the live sessions are.
So I just have to go to Play Store and put Telegram.
Yeah. Just download Telegram. You can get it on. Do you have an Apple phone or an Android phone?
No, it's Android, but I think
Android.
I found it already.
Google Play. Yeah, you'll just get Telegram, and
it's that blue little arrow, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. If you install that, it'll give me a notification that you've joined, and then I'll just add you to the group. And then that's the ongoing communication. You can just check Telegram, and you'll see when the live sessions are every day, and there's a link in there to join them as well.
Yeah, I used to be on Telegram actually, but I stopped it. It's too much sometimes, but
well, I understand, but if you're going to do this, it's the platform I use too.
Yeah.
Because it's the
what
same
is that?
platform for WhatsApp. So Yeah, so download that. I'll add you to it's called the Life Pool Inspirations group, and I'll remove you from the WhatsApp group, so you don't get the material twice.
Oh,
That's it.
yes, that would be nice. Once is good
Yes.
enough.
Yes, yeah, once is enough, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, okay. So Jackie, I don't know if you want to just do the lesson quickly. If either you want to stay, we'll do the
I need to go,
workbook
Jono.
lesson.
Sorry. I
Hmm.
get going.
Yeah.
All right.
I was going to say I'll have to go as well because
Yeah.
I've got the dogs.
No,
and
fair enough. It's been 2 hours, 20 minutes. So thank you for staying for so long. I hope that was useful, interesting. Feel free to reach out to me if you've got any questions or anything. You've got my
Thank you.
email on my mobile, so
Mm.
happy to chat to you. And if you know anyone who might be interested, then please send them our way. We're going to be doing a few more masterclasses before the 5th of February. So next
Okay,
week,
yes.
Wednesday, same time, same place. I'll be putting information out about that.
Yeah, we can also share it in the group if someone else wants to join the masterclass. We can put it in our ACIM group as well.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. Yeah, so
Just need to send us the date and time, and then we can forward the info.
yeah, no problem. I'll do that. Jackie, I think you did it, but is it the same group? You're in the same group as
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
it's
the
the same
Monday
group,
group. Yeah.
But it's always good to have somebody else
doing it. Yeah,
doing
yeah.
it as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So great. I'll send you some stuff already to which you can copy and paste and post in the group.
Yep,
We'll have
no
a
problem.
date and time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Thank you
thanks for
very much.
joining. Staying till the end.
Thank
Have
you.
have a good evening.
Hopefully see you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah, look
All
forward
Good
to
to
right.
seeing
see you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
See you
Yeah.
on Monday.
Bye,
See you
everyone.
Yeah.
Monday.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
See you Monday.
Good
Bye.
night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Namaste. Bye, everyone.
Namaste.
Yeah. All right. So that brings the session to a close. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Good session. Hopefully see you again soon. If you're a member, I've got another live session tomorrow at 12:30 UK time, 2:30 SA time. And if you're watching this on a recording, then I hope you enjoyed it. And feel free to reach out to me. And if you'd like to join the 3-week free trial, just reach out to me, message me, email me, and let me know. And you're most welcome. So thanks for the session. Thanks for staying till the end, everyone. And namaste, which means the true self in me acknowledges and honors that same true self in you.